Okay, Beshem Hashem Nasim Nasiach, Baruch Hashem, we're having another executive learning at Vernon, downtown. Zat Hashem, may the zechut of this Limud Torah be a protection to all Am Israel. So in last week's parasha, Parashat Hazliah Mesorah, we learn about the prohibition of Lashon Hara, evil speech. Shekhinah Baruch Hu. So evil speech, as we know, is something that Chafetz Chaim Alav Shalom spoke about it a lot. He has written his famous Sefer Shemirat HaLashon, and we know that speech is what differentiates us with other animals. The power of speech is something that mankind has, human being, and makes us different than other beings. So you see, that's why Sara'at, this spiritual sickness, one of the reasons the person would get Sara'at was because he misused the power of speech. So, and we see that even Moshe Rabbeinu was affected by Sara'at. Miriam HaNeviah was affected by Sara'at. Gedolim, as it says in the Gemara, that people could be affected by arayot, immodesty, could be affected by gezel, stealing. So there are those individuals that could be affected by those averot, but it says in the Gemara, everyone is affected by avak lashon hara. Avak lashon hara is like the dust of lashon hara, like similar to lashon hara. How destructive is lashon hara is clearly mentioned in many resources in Judaism. So there is a famous teshuvah in Sefer Igurot Moshe, written by Harab Moshe Feinstein, Alav Shalom, one of the greatest poskim among our Achenu Ashkenazim, that he brings a Maaseh Haya, Maaseh Shaya Kach Haya.
Hello. Can you hear me?
True story.
I'm going to ask you a question.
So this story is mentioned in the Igorot Moshe, and the story is about a person who got this strange sickness. His tongue was swollen, and doctors couldn't figure out what's wrong with him, to the extent that he had a hard time even breathing. So this story happened in 1921 when Rab Moshe Feinstein Alav Shalom lived in Russia. So this individual consulted from Rab Moshe what to do, and apparently what Rab Moshe writes tells us about how severe this sickness was, or what caused it was. So this person comes to Rab Moshe Feinstein Alav Shalom, and he tells to Rab Moshe, you know, I know why I am affected by this sickness. So he goes on to say, the last week's parasha Vayera, he was talking about Benot Lot. As we know, Benot Lot, Lot's daughters, after they saw the destruction of Sodom and Amorah, and they went into the cave with their father, they thought that the whole world was destroyed. They thought that there is no more mankind in the whole world except them and their father. So they decided to have relation with their father, as is indicated in the Torah Kedusha. So they gave alcohol, they gave perhaps wine to their father, and they got him drunk. The Torah goes into details saying that one night one of the daughters was with her father, the other night the other daughter, and this way they became pregnant. And from their father they gave birth to 2 sons, each one a son. And they called their children Ammon and Moab. Basically is indicating that these children are from our father. Ammon and Moab, from our father. So this person who got this sickness of swollen tongue, he told Rab Moshe Feinstein, when he was saying over this story, he said, this whole act that the Lord's daughters did was so inappropriate, was so disgusting on its own, that not only that, they went ahead, they didn't have busha, they weren't embarrassed, and they announced that these children that we have, our children are from our father. So making a memorial, making it known among everyone. So this individual spoke very negatively about this act. And he said, this, I don't know why they did it. This is very inappropriate what they did. Apparently that night, this individual who said such a derogatory, negative statements, he had a dream. In his dream, 2 ladies with a covered face, they came and they identified themselves as Lot's daughters. And they said, that which you spoke negatively about us, we tell you why we called our children, our sons, after our father. Because we wanted to make it known. We wanted the whole world, all the mankind know that the only way a lady can become pregnant and can have a child is through the old fashion of husband and wife being together. And if the husband and wife they get together, they'll have a child. This is how Qadosh Baruch Hu, Almighty Hashem, wants that husband and wife would bear children when they are together. And we wanted this to become known, that there is no other way a person can bear a child. For later generations, that if in the later generation there will be an invention, they come with such a way of inventing that there would be a so-called the child from God, there is no such a thing. They can't be. It has to be husband and wife, and obviously Hashem making that they should bear a child. They should have a child, a living child. So from here, they concluded this act that we had, not only it was for continuity of mankind, because we thought there was no more human being on the planet of Earth alive, so they weren't with their father, Hashem Shamayim, for the sake of heavens. And they named them, those children, after their father, to make it known that the only way to have a child is to the relation between husband and wife. So after this dream, he got this sickness of swollen tongue. And as he concluded this story, he said, this is midah, can I get midah? This is measure for measure. Because I spoke negatively about, because you spoke negatively about us, because the person said, because I spoke negatively about Lot's daughters, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent me this sickness of tongue, lo aleinu. And then he turned he turned his face away, if I remember the detail correctly, and he passed away. So this is the story that is brought in the Hakdama of Sefer Igorot Moshe, written by Harav Moshe Feinstein, Alav Shalom, Zecher Sadiq Livracha, and was said over by my Rebbe, Harav Isachar Franschlita. It comes to remind us that a person should not take his power of speech lightly. With saying one positive comment, a person can give so much hope to another. By giving one negative comment, a person can destroy so many years of shalom and building.
Hello.
So this should be a lesson for all of us to work on Sheminat HaLashon, to refrain from negative speech, and to always be positive. And Be'ezat Hashem, as we know, a person who watches his tongue, that will help him to have long life, not to become chote, not to have sins, as Lashon Hara is more severe, negative speech is more severe than many averot combined. Shefichot Damim, Gilui Arayot, and Avodah Zarah, which means murder. It is worse than murder, because murder happens only in this life. But this person who speaks negatively, not only it is as if committing murder for killing someone here, also would damage his word to come. And another lesson is that it's worse than Avodah Zarah, God, idol worship, because every second a person is speaking negatively, he is undermining that this individual has Selem Elokim, has a reflection of Hashem's greatness in him, a neshama that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave to him. And also it is as if a person committed zenut, adultery, by that act is as worse as that. So may HaKadosh Baruch Hu is as bad as that one. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu help us that we all watch our speech and we work on the halachot Sheminat HaLashon. Amen. Thank you so much for hosting this call too.